Today I'm taking with the VEVOR 8-inch wet sharpener. So we do got our instructions, and we got some nice diagrams on there so we can tell exactly where everything goes. It says it's a 120 volt motor. It runs at 150 watts, 155 RPM, 8-inch by 1 1/8 inch by 1/2 inch honing wheel, and a 8-inch by 1 9/16 by 1/2 inch wet wheel. Here is our guide. So sometimes with these I see I have these threaded, and so you can take a little nut and you can run that up and down. But this one, it looks like everything is going to be just simply clamping force to hold that in place. It is a nice, looks like about 1/2 inch thick piece of steel. Here we have our gauge. So you can see this edge is going to be 30 degrees. That edge will be 35 degrees. You can get whatever kind of an angle you want. So it looks like it does come with a chisel guide. We do have some plastic inserts in there to make sure that we can slide back and forth easily. And we have springs to hold that plate up. So we've got some thumb bolts. And here is our wheel. So we can see this is an 8-inch wheel. It is a 220 grit, designed for a 1/2 inch arbor and 150 RPM max speed. I did not see any nicks or anything like that, just some pieces of foam stuck to it. Overall, it looks like a very good wheel. And here is the grinder. We got a reversible switch, so we have forward and we have reverse and off in the middle. We've got a spot for our guide, and these holes are going to be for our thumb bolts. So here is our water reservoir. That has a couple of clips to hold that in place, and we can see we do have a V-cut in here, so we're making sure that we're not overfilling it with water and having water drain out on the back side. I also like this extra high wall on here because, again, these things are very messy, and the higher that wall, the more water this is going to catch. We do have a 3-prong power plug. We do have our leather strop. Looks like that is actually lined up very nicely. We'll turn it on and check that for sure. We got another spot for our guide here on the back. I'm going to be doing a lot of this by hand. If you're a perfectionist, you probably should still use a guide. The tools that I'm going to be using, I just want to make sure that they are good and sharp, and I want to be able to do that easily with a tool like this. So you can see we got a hole right here that is going to be for this star grip, and you can kind of see the little light peeking through there. I take one of these nuts off, and we're going to push it right in that slot. We can spin that grip in, and then we got a locking screw on this side, and we'll pop that guy out. So you can see with that out, this motor can kind of bounce up and down a little bit. Now we can tighten this guy down until we feel a little pressure, and then we can lock that nut down. So now we can throw in our stone, and you will notice that I am turning this clockwise to loosen it. So this is a righty-loosey. Now you can put a coating on here. It's usually a good idea. You could put some kind of a lubricant just as a corrosion protection for this shaft. I'm not going to do that right now, but I will be probably doing that in the future. And we can drop our stone on, and the flange, and our nut. Again, that is a lefty-tighty. All right, and put in our reservoir, and we'll plug this guy in. There is a little bit of wobble in that wheel, not a heck of a lot. The strop is actually looking pretty good. And now we're going to feed it water. So this is a wet stone. It's going to take a while to soak up all the water. It's going to soak up quite a bit of water. So I'm just going to fill that guy up. And we'll let that guy soak for about 30 minutes. While that's soaking, we can prep our stropping wheel. So all we're going to do is apply some 3-in-1 oil. Basically all we're doing is we're making sure that we're not going to be running on a dry leather strop. We want to apply enough oil so it softens up, but not so much that it's going to be dripping off. I'm going to throw some compound on here. I'm going to use the black, so this is going to be for steel. I'm going to put down a rag. Now, the right thing to do would be to put this guy in there and then put a jig on there to hold the knife. I don't have one, so I'm just going to do this by hand. Okay. Oh yeah. So we went from no blade to a fairly definitive blade in basically no time at all. Yeah, I can already feel there is quite a point on there. I did not even spend that long on it. So the nice thing about a wet sander is that it is going to keep the metal itself cool, so you're not re-tempering the blade. What you don't want to do with a blade is to heat it up and then let it cool down slowly, because that is going to weaken the metal. Ideally, you want to keep it nice and cool, which is where the water comes in, and the slow RPM. See if I can get a little higher. That's a little better for keeping the water contained. Of course, that is going to depend a lot on the blade itself that you're sharpening. Well, let's move over to the strop, and I'm going to spin that the other direction. Main idea here being kind of some slight polishing, but also just removing any kind of a burr that developed. Oh yeah, we have got an edge on that guy. That's looking pretty good. I got a couple of sheets of paper. Super easy. Nice. So yeah, if you got a lot of blades that you need sharpened, especially if you care about them, but you don't want to be sitting there with a regular old whetstone, this is going to save you a ton of time, and it's going to give you a professional result. So overall, I'm very happy with that.